According to some studies, we tap, swipe, and click our phones about 2,600 times a day. We unlock our phones about 150 times each day. We use a gadget 10 hours 39 minutes on average every single day. 73% of us have experienced anxiety over losing our phones. We send or receive 94 texts per day on average. 25% of us wake up at night to use our phones. We're using our phones 20% more than we did in 2015. 33% of teens bring their phones to bed at night. 60% of college students say that they are addicted to their phones. 75% of Americans use their phones on toilet. 85% of us check our phones while speaking to friends and family. 87% of millennials say that their smartphones never leave their sight. We are quite addicted to this thing, aren't we? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we just saw that our phones have become quite of an addiction for us, and I think it's more of a social media addiction. Social media and phones are honestly quite useful innovations, but as they say, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And so if we don't control the use of social media on our phones, quite soon we start to see the drawbacks that comes with the usage, actually excessive usage of our phones and social media. So let's quickly jump into the video and talk about the 12 tips and hacks and ways in which you can break your social media addiction. The first thing that I would recommend is to track your time. Track and get some insights into where most of your time is going and which apps you're using the most when you're using your phone. This will give you more of a reality check, because usually we don't feel that we are spending a lot of time on the social media platforms, but in reality we might be spending more time than is actually required. So to track your time, I recommend using Rescue Time, which is an app for your desktop, which will automatically track how much time you're spending on everything that you do on a computer. On mobile, you can use the mobile version of Rescue Time, or you can use apps that pretty much does the exact same thing as Rescue Time. I like to use the inbuilt app on my phone, which basically tracks everything that I do on my phone automatically. Well, now that you have the data in front of you, you can see where you are spending most of your time, and now you can ask yourself why you are spending so much of your time on these apps. You can ask yourself why you keep opening that app throughout the day. You see, everything that we do, every habit that we have, there is a reason, there's a cue behind it that sort of triggers us to do that habit or to perform that action. So find the reason why you keep going back to those apps. It could be that you just mindlessly start scrolling through social media when you're bored or when you're stressed. One of the best strategies that can help you break any bad habit is the if-then strategy. The cue of I'm bored or I'm stressed is always going to be there. So if you decide that you're not going to respond to those triggers, then it's going to be so much more difficult for you to break that habit of scrolling through social media, because you would simply have nothing to do in place of scrolling through social media. And so your brain would keep getting this urge to do some scrolling, and it would take a massive amount of willpower to ignore that urge. So to make it a little easier for yourself, find a couple of alternative responses for these cues. Make a list of a couple of such alternatives. So fill in if blank, then blank. For example, if I feel bored, then I'm gonna take a walk around the block. Or if I have nothing to do, then I'm gonna read a book for some time. Another example could be if I feel stressed, then I'm gonna do a 2 minutes breathing exercise. And don't just think those alternatives, write them down, because when you're trying to break a bad habit and when you feel these triggers, when there is this cue, all you would think about is just going back to that same habit that you want to break. So when you have those alternatives written in front of you, you are more likely to opt for those alternatives. When an alcoholic is trying to give up alcohol, does he keep a bottle of wine next to his bed? When a person is trying to get healthy, does he keep junk and processed food at his dining table? Just like that, when you're trying to break social media addiction, you have to practice physical distancing. So keep your phone away from you at an inconvenient convenient distance. You can use the 20-second rule to help you here. So keep your phone at a place where it will take you at least 20 seconds to fetch it. When it takes you about at least 20 seconds to do something, you are less likely to do it. You can also try going to the grocery store without taking your phone, which can seem very daunting. But you see, when you go to the grocery store and you have to wait at the billing counter queue for even about a minute, the first thing that you'll do is start scrolling through social media. And what you'll see is that everybody around you is doing the same thing. So when you avoid taking your phone to the grocery store with you, you're more likely to retrain your brain to be present instead of just scrolling through social media every chance you get. This is probably the simplest but the most effective thing to do. Usually when you hear a notification on your phone that acts like a cue, and then your response is to check your phone to see who liked your picture or who commented on your post or who sent you a DM. And when you check all these things, you get a hit of dopamine, which makes you feel good, and this makes the whole process addictive. So go to your phone setting and turn off the notifications of each of these social media apps. This way you're going to retrain your brain and you're going to break this habit of going to social media every time you hear a notification. We are usually accessing social media on our phones, so to break that habit, you can try using social media only on your computer. This can help because we mindlessly access all these apps because our phones are always by our sides. But when you use these on sites on your computer, you'll have to load them every time, and these aren't going to be as interactive or as fancy as the phone apps. For example, the Instagram's website is not as interactive or not as fancy as the Instagram app, and so you would be less likely to use these social media sites on the computer for a very long time. There are a lot of apps available these days that can help you block social media sites. You can use apps like Freedom on your computer and on your phone, which can help you either block the internet or block the social media sites. You can also check out this video in which I've shared a couple of such apps that can help you block social media sites and apps for a certain period of time. If you find that completely blocking social media sites avoid you from using some useful features like events or group features on Facebook, then you can try blocking the news feed of social media sites. News feed is usually what kills most of our time, so you can use apps like To-Do Book or Feedless that will block only the news feed of such sites, but you can still access the other useful features. Obviously, our aim is to limit the use of social media, not to end it completely. So set a timer and set a limit for yourself on how much time you're actually going to allow yourself to use social media sites every single day. Once you reach that limit, be strong and do not give yourself extra time. I like to use a built-in app on my phone which allows me to set a time limit on each of these social media apps individually. You can use apps like Screen Time to do the same. If you feel that it is becoming difficult for you to just get off the social media apps once you start using them, then you can try going cold turkey for a while. Delete the social media apps on your phone and do not access them on the computer. It is going to be difficult for the first 3 or 4 initial days, but then gradually it is going to start getting better. Tell your friends about an alternative way how they can contact you while you have deleted all these apps. I was once addicted to WhatsApp, and so when I decided to break that bad habit, I went cold turkey. So I uninstalled WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and then I told my friends to contact me either through email or to call me whenever they wanted to talk to me. And I did that for 30 days, no WhatsApp, no Facebook Messenger, and after that my addiction was completely broken, and even today I am free from it. And once you feel that okay, your addiction has broken, you're no longer addicted to these social media apps, or you no longer feel the urge to go on social media, then you can install the app back and then set a time limit for yourself every single day how much you're going to use them. So instead of using social media as a stress relief mechanism or to kill boredom, use it as a reward. So set aside about 30 minutes to an hour every single day after your work as a social happy hour. After working hard the whole day, use this happy hour as a reward for yourself for working hard the whole day without using your phone or without going on social media. Allow yourself to go on social media only when you have been productive the whole day. This will keep you motivated to work because you know that you're going going to get your beloved dopamine hit in the evening. The social media creators have worked so hard to make these apps and sites as addictive as possible. So it's only natural for you to go back to them more and more. So please be compassionate towards yourself, because you have to work against something that some of the brilliant minds of the world have created. And that is going to take time and self-discipline, which you can learn over time with consistent efforts. And I have the most difficult thing for you now. Don't sleep with your phone. I know that it is very difficult because we have hundreds of excuses of sleeping with it. It is my alarm clock is going to be the number one excuse. You know what? You can actually buy a cheap alarm clock which is going to do the exact same thing as the alarm app on your phone. But if you absolutely have to use your phone for an alarm and you cannot buy an alarm clock, then keep your phone away from you when you sleep, not anywhere near your bed. And then when the alarm goes off, get off your bed and then disable the alarm and put the phone back. This is going to be a lot harder than actually buying an alarm clock, by the way. The second common excuse is that, what if there is an emergency and somebody sends me a text? Sweetheart, nobody is going to text you if there is an emergency. They will call you, okay? And if you still feel that somebody might waste so much time typing a text while there's an emergency instead of calling you, then tell your friends and family to give you a call if there is something urgent. Just do whatever you have to do to stop sleeping with your phone near you. And the most important tip that I can give you is to use the 5-second rule. All of our habits, whether good or bad, they reside in our subconscious mind, and so we do all of those things on autopilot. So, to break any bad habit, you have to use this part of your brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex. And to awaken the prefrontal cortex, just simply count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Use the 5-second rule and then physically move every time you feel out of control, every time you feel this urge to go on social media and mindlessly scroll through the news feed. And while you're still here, make sure that you check out these 2 videos. I have a suspicion you're gonna like them. And also subscribe to my channel by pressing this button right here, because I make videos on personal growth, productivity, and lifestyle. I will see you all pretty soon in my next video. Until then, keep loving, keep dreaming. This is Ruchika Srivastava signing off.